Here's why you should prepare early for an EC launch. When the preview for an EC starts, it typically only lasts for 10 days. The preview is when the show flat first opens for buyers to check out the show units and also to collate the EC application forms. Here's an example of the e-app form for Aurel of Tampines EC. By the way, don't forget to bookmark this webpage so you'll never miss an upcoming EC launch. Following the preview, there is a 2-day period for registered buyers to drop their ballot ticket into a ballot box. All tickets are then balloted to determine the queue sequence for booking. And finally, balloted buyers will hit for booking day to make a purchase as per their queue number. After the booking day, the show flat then opens for walk-ins. At the same time, there is a 30% quota for second-timers within the first month from booking day. And if the second-timer quota is met on the booking day, there will be a separate booking conducted just for second-timers 1 month from the first booking day. And if you're wondering how the price release works, typically from 1 to a few days just before the preview starts, there will be a press release by the developer, but only announcing the starting prices per unit category. Here's an example. The press release for Aurel of Tampines EC published on the 21st of February 2025, just 1 day before the start of the preview on the 22nd. Here you can see it says prices start from 1.417 million for a 3-bedroom, from 1.689 million for a 4-bedroom, and from 2.258 million for a 5-bedroom unit. And the full price list for all units is made available to all registered buyers during the 2-day ticket drop. And that's about 3 days before the actual booking day. Here's an example of the full price list for Aurel of Tampines EC released during the 2-day ticket drop. Prices for all units are made available, including NPS and DPS prices. So because of that short runway during the preview period, if you wait till the preview to commence before you plan, it's too late. Because besides your basic eligibility, you have to plan early for your financial flow as well. And that brings me to my next point. For buyers of a new EC, you'll choose between the NPS Normal Progressive Scheme or the DPS Deferred Payment Scheme. In both cases, the payment sequence must be cash, CPF followed by loan. The difference here being that under NPS, payment stages run continuously until TOP and CSC. Whereas under DPS, buyers only pay the first 20% along with buyer stamp duty and legal fees within about 8 to 9 weeks, and the interim payments are paused until a 65% payment at TOP. And also, units purchased under DPS will typically be about 3% higher in price than if purchased under NPS. Now, first-timers will typically choose the NPS scheme, but there is also a case to be made for first-timers to choose the DPS scheme, and that's when they want to take their loan a little bit later when their income and hence loan are higher. So for a first-timer choosing DPS, the flow will look like this. The first 20% paid for in cash, buyer stamp duty and legal fees can be paid for using CPF. They can apply and take a loan a little bit later, and the remaining payments paid for using their CPF and loan. On the other hand, for second-timers who own a current HDB, if you choose NPS, you need to either finance the payment stages without selling your HDB, or if you need the funds in your HDB to finance the purchase, you have to look at selling it very quickly after the first 5%, keeping in mind that the next 15% is required within 8 to 9 weeks later. So most second-timers will go for DPS because of the deferred bridging loan that allows you to use your current HDB's value as part of a future financing. So for a second-timer under DPS, you could be looking at either one of these two scenarios. Mortgage loan, your deferred bridging loan, your CPF OA if sufficient, earmarked for a future and current payment, and the remaining shortfall to be all in cash. Alternatively would be mortgage loan, deferred bridging loan, CPF OA, and this entire shortfall to be all in cash. Keep in mind that in all cases, the financing structure must adhere to the flow cash, CPF, bridging loan, and mortgage loan. Stamp duty and legal fees can be paid in a combination of cash and CPF without affecting this flow. So as you can see, with the sheer amount of considerations, the best way to prepare is to prepare early. For more useful resources, check out the links below or drop me a note. I'll be glad to discuss.